我が敵を食らう
The world could always use more heroes.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, and we sure have a slobber knocker of a fight for you tonight here on Tuesday Night Overwatch. Good evening, everyone. I am your caster, Hotohori. It will be TBA and Flashpoint, leaders in the Minors division of the Owlet tournament, will be your featured matchup of the evening. This is sure to be a great matchup between these two teams. And as my co-commentator, as always, he's captain of the USS Angry Bees, whose feed drive is at warp speed at all times. It is Pulse. How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good, Hodo. Like you said, this is going to be a really close match tonight because the minors division in Owlet has been going crazy lately, and pretty much everyone is tied for first. So these should be some really good matches coming up, especially this week, next week, as we're sort of making our way through this mid-stage section of the season.
Yeah, it's absolutely it's one of those things that we're absolutely going to see a really good matchup as all the teams here are tied up here in first place. So let's show you what the standings look like here with regards to the Minors division. So we'll show this right now. You'll see the sort of bottleneck up at the top. Flashpoint and TBA here are actually going to be here at the exact same record of 14-3. So I think these were updated as soon as these things were up. So they're 13-3 apiece. So they're tied in second place, but updated on the card, I think they were both listed at 14-2. So I'm not exactly sure, but we know that they do hold a pretty identical record here. The two teams here are pretty much fighting for seed at this point. Otter Oxide listed at 14-2, have the current lead now and are looking very, very good to actually take the top seed in the Minors division. So it's going to be a very, very interesting match here between the two teams tonight. Let's take a look here at the maps that we will be playing this evening. It will be Lijiang Tower, followed by Junkertown. Volskaya will be your next map, and the fourth map will be Eichenwald. And if just in case we need to have a tiebreak at the end, which could be very likely between these two teams, it will be on Busan. Pulse, let me know what you think of these maps right here.
Well, there's These maps are kind of standard. I'd say the biggest exception would be Busan, just because that one really lends itself to those triple DPS comps on Mega Base, on Sanctuary, and Downtown. Sanctuaries really favors them. Mega Base favors them a little bit less, but it really gives you an opportunity to play with compositions a little bit, especially since we have a new patch today. There's the new hero that's live, even though he's not available for this stage for playing. That's Baptiste, is the healer, but we have changes to pretty much everyone in the roster. So Orisa moves faster while shooting. You have junk nades do more damage. You have a lot of things that can really hurt goats. And if this is a night to be experimental, if there's a night to be experimental, this is it.
What do you think is going to be the biggest change here that might affect some of the play that we might see here? You said that the Junkrat buff there was somewhat devastating. I saw a video where it only takes like 4 grenades now to take people down, as opposed to 5 if you get direct shots. But with the increased damage and all the spam that could be happening, that's a huge change, don't you think?
Yeah, it definitely is. I think overall, when people have been asking me about my ideas for this meta in general, bunker comps are going to be really powerful. And I think that's going to be on the shoulders of the new healer a little bit. But even then, bunker comps are very effective, especially in this SR range. So I would say definitely expect some more Bastion tonight than you'd see normally. Expect some more Torb, Orisa, Junk, pretty much all of those heroes that you haven't really been seeing a whole lot of, especially since the goats that we see at this level isn't as coordinated as something you see in like Overwatch League, and for good reason too. Like they're pros, and this is an amateur level tournament, so
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see because, like, especially even in the minors division, goats is run, but it's not run very commonly. Oh, hold on. Looks like teams here. Oh, they just had to restart the map. We were about to start on night market, but I was about to say
Now arriving at Lijiang.
goats isn't run as commonly as it is in the lower levels, just because teams usually don't have the coordination that it requires for goats to actually be very useful. So you end up seeing a lot of like 222, or
Yeah.
even maybe some like triple tank, some triple tank but DPS play with one single DPS. So you get a more variety of a lineup. So it's very interesting to see between the two teams, probably.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the maps where that's really going to come into play tonight, because Lijiang, it could happen, control points always play your strongest. So Lijiang, Busan, maybe not as much. Junkertown is by far going to favor that Orisa Bastion again, though, so be careful with that coming into that second map. And then the third and fourth ones, you might not see them as much just because they lose their effectiveness on attack side, just because it's hard to move up with a bunker comp unless you're doing it properly. And you might not see it as much there, but definitely on Escort, definitely on some of these maps where if someone favors that Orisa, they can sort of pull it out and control point now. She's a little bit more mobile, can get around.
Oh yeah.
But again, this is one of those things where play what you practice, and you might just catch some people off guard with some of the new changes if you're not quite used to it yet.
Yeah. And it looks like it's going to be diving here, going to be on both sides. You see both Winston Diva comps here coming on both sides. You got a Pharmacy on one side, but Heartbeat going without the Mercy support, so maybe a little bit of a disadvantage here. Cristiano Ronaldo will go ahead and dive in and see if he can actually establish a little bit of position here. Gets punished for it as down he goes to the rockets from Simple here. This is going to force most of the members of Flashpoint to sort of fall back. Flashpoint lost their main tank, from what I understand. Piper used to be their main tank, no longer playing here for Flashpoint, so they're at a big disadvantage here as they lose the initial point here on Garden.
Yeah, very good cleanup from them. The only big thing coming in is Grumpy Kitten had to remech properly, or we saw Petticoat have to remech. So she's still Baby Diva right now, and this is really their time to push, but it is a little bit harder for a Pharmacy to push in. But off that pick on the Baby Diva, they're going to have a sort of all green light here to get in.
Yeah, that no defense matrix means go, but it looks like Grumpy Kitten got taken down also, so they lose the Diva on the side of TBA here. So it looks like TBA here trying to sort of stabilize and make sure they control the point. Simple here with the rockets will eliminate the remaining Grumpy Kitten, but Petticoat is back on the Diva here, and now it looks like TBA very much stabilizing here and going to force Flashpoint back. 2 fights, 2 wins here for TBA. They're looking good early.
We saw Flashpoint unable to capitalize on that D.Va pick that they got so early, especially without a D.Va. Your Pharah wants to be as aggressive as possible, and it just wasn't happening. So unfortunately, they weren't able to flip the point. But now we have a Barrage coming up, we have a Primal Rage, we have that Transcendence and Pulse Bomb. So everything that Flashpoint needs to take this point is online right now. They just need to use these ults properly.
Yeah, Rainbow switched there later on in order to actually help out the Pharah from Heartbeat here. So now you've got double pharmacies on both sides, and Simple actually takes out Taco El Taco, who had a Transcendence, and Simple ends up finishing out Grumpy Kitten too. So 2 big kills here from the Pharah of TBA, which forces a reset here from Flashpoint. We're at 80%. There's 1 fight left to go. Flashpoint's got to win it here.
They still have those ults, so that's the only thing really going for them. After a really good boop on Paco El Taco, just was unable to use Trans to save himself, so thankfully he did, and didn't use Trans. He saved it for this next fight, but they really have to make sure they get in here aggressively and start getting this capture percentage up.
Yeah, D.Va Bomb here sent far into the back. Can people get away? Absolutely. It looks like Heartbeat here will try to use Barrage in order to wipe out members of TBA. He's getting revived, so he's going to be able to come back here. Fight definitely going the way of Flashpoint here as they're getting all the kills. It looks like the Mercy here from TBA is going to have to back out. Does take the trace, does get taken down here by Boots, and now it is Flashpoint. They've got to come all the way back here in order to win this point.
They do have to pretty much build up this entire percentage without losing another fight, and both sides are more or less reset at this point. So Rainbow has a Valkyrie, we see Sharpshot have that Pulse Bomb, but that's all online for this fight, so it's going to rely on getting this first pick off, and Yikes is kind of low, and if they can capitalize on this, get a lot of damage as they're coming through this room, then they're going to have a hard time pushing on the point.
Yeah, like, they need to get Heartbeat to kill or 2 here with help. Cristiano Ronaldo actually is the one who actually gets the kill, gets it on Marty Barter, and down goes the Lucio here on the side of TBA also. So advantage Flashpoint in this fight. They do end up having to get Yikes here, and Petticoat just jumps off the edge. They knew that fight was over, and they're already up to 40% here. They're doing a pretty decent job here trying to make the comeback.
Both teams so far this map have had a little bit of trouble building up those ults when they're on the attacking side. They've had a hard time finding their way into these points without eating a lot of damage, and it's been sort of a slow round because of that. We haven't seen a lot of flashy ults come into play. We haven't seen a lot of opportunities to push, but once they sort of get into this brawly position, things just sort of go crazy.
Ooh, big Pulse Bomb here from Sharpshot onto Rainbow. So no mercy here on the side of Flashpoint. They need to hold out still. Petticoat actually takes out Paco El Taco with a bomb being sent here into the back. That does take the tank. What a comeback here by Flashpoint as a Pulse Bomb is able to get Simple out of the air. Not exactly sure how that's going to happen. Grumpy Kitten, Cristiano Ronaldo wipe out the remaining members here on the point, and Flashpoint making a huge comeback here on Gardens.
This is last fight territory, and the only thing coming into this is Yikes with the Valkyrie and Heartbeat with the Barrage. Barrage is a very easily counterable ult if they're paying attention to it and know to watch out for it. So as long as they know that's coming in, then they can easily win this fight.
Yeah, fight's going to actually just go straight onto the point here, so it's going to be a matter of who can take out who. DPS is going to be huge, and what a shot by Simple in the air to take Heartbeat down. Those are kills that they needed. Barrage actually heading towards the door, catches Rainbow as she tried to come in. It looks like TBA here has a huge advantage on the point. They're up 4. They're going to be up 5 here as Cristiano Ronaldo is all by his lonesome. They're going to cap the point here. Can anybody from Flashpoint come back? It is at 99. Overtime starting to tick out. Bomb gets sent out. Not going to happen. TBA almost give it up here, but they are able to get that final percentage point and draw first blood here on Lijiang Tower.
And really heads up play from Petticoat there. Just being aware of the Pharah ult made sure that Heartbeat couldn't do anything with it. And especially after getting that early pick on Cronaldo with the Pharah and then blocking the Pharah ult from coming through, there was just nothing that the defenders could do to keep that point.
Yeah, it made it very, very hard for them to actually, as soon as they lost one, they started losing all, and the positioning from TBA was absolutely great. And now we're actually going to be going here to a control center, which is a very goatsy map. As you can see, both teams here are ready to go. Nyah. So the goats here are... the teams are going to be coming out. It is going to be a straight-up goats here. Zen goats from both sides. As
but we see a May on the side of Flashpoint.
You're right. I'm sorry. I forgot about Boots. Excuse it's me, Boots, trying to see if he can sort of wall off people. Snoats it is, and the advantage going to the Snoats here, 2-1 on the kill side, as they are going to be trying to push on Simple, maybe get Petticoat down also. Charge coming in from Heartbeat, trying to see if he can demech anybody. Down they go. Grumpy Kitten got taken down here by the Lucio, but not enough. It is the Snoats who take early advantage here on TBA, but not enough to hold the door, Pulse, and that's going to be huge.
That's sort of the advantage Snoats gives you, is that it gives you the ability to split up a team, and it gives you advantage to split up a very well-coordinated team, but especially now, if you can just wall 1 or 2 people off as they're walking in, there's nothing the attackers can do about it. And Mei's very powerful in this point of Lijiang because of that. Everything is conveniently wall size.
Yeah, and you saw that, you know, TBA was ready for it. They were just sort of trying to see if they could bait the wall out. Instead, they just make sure they get a couple people in, the wall comes up, and they're not able to trap them down, so now the fight will actually occur here right at the doorway. Marty Barter here actually gets earth-shattered here. What a shatter by Heartbeat! He catches 4! That's going to win them the fight here, and down go the members of TBA. TBA, my goodness, they look like they were ready for it. They were not, and this fight win is going to go to Flashpoint, and they're already at 50%.
And Petticoat got a little bit staggered at the end. Nothing too bad. It's just going to cut it off a couple extra percentage on the point. So if they want to break this, they're going to have to figure out a way to use speed boost properly to get through here as a team. Alternatively, they can swap to the Mei of their own and give a perpendicular wall to make sure that they can get in for free, because that's one way to stop a Mei from doing this to you every single time.
Yeah. Oh, what a charge there, but a Graviton eaten by Petticoat, and now the Graviton on the other side will catch most of the members as the bomb will finish off everybody else. It looks like Boots is the only one. Oh, she's gonna get punished, and down goes Paco El Taco, and they do find a way to break it, but they give up pretty much 84% in the process, and now Marty Barter and the rest of the team are trying to see if they can hold the door on their side.
Yeah, a lot of things were used in that fight. So, not everything. There's still a lot on the table for this next fight for them to push in, and they do have that Mei, so there's no way for the defenders right now to really stop them the same way that they were stopped on their attack.
As it looks like here, Heartbeat does take down Marty Barter, and a big shatter here from Heartbeat again. No Reinhardt means no blocking the shatter coming through. My goodness, Flashpoint are now raging onto TBA as Yikes has to sort of fall back. They want to make sure they control the point here, and then they will probably reestablish at the door. Boots is going to be ready for that wall. They can really just need to just stall them up here. Sharp Shot and Marty Barter there now sort of trapped. If they can get a late stagger kill here, it could be over. Marty Barter comes in with a huge shatter, but team members here have to get to the point. 4% left before the point actually will go. It looks like they will get to the point here, as Yikes here will save the rest of the team. That Transcendence trying to save the people on the point. Fights going on all over the place. Petticoat actually getting demech, and a Graviton here will save Paco El Taco and Heartbeat as they try to make sure that they maintain control. Kills here going the way of Cristiano Ronaldo and Grumpy Kitten. TBA here have no answer onto the control point here, as it looks like TBA gets wiped out, and this map is now tied at 1s.
Yeah, that was... I always like seeing Maygoats on there because it's a very easy way to throw a lot of chaos into a map that's kind of in the solved territory. Like, even at high level plays, you pretty much always see Ryan Zarya in there, and if you're not prepared for that Mei, it just kind of throws you for a loop, because the Mei gives you an early advantage by getting a surprise kill, and then on top of that, Mei is such a good defensive hero on that map due to the size of the chokes and the distance between them. There's no way to easily speed from one to the other when the wall goes up, and wall has such a short cooldown. You can just keep trapping one person or even just wall people off pretty much forever, and it's a pain in the butt.
Yeah, it really is here. So now we've got we're going back to the 2-2-2s here, but Grumpy Kitten staying on Diva, whereas Petticoat has gone to the Zarya. You see pharmacies on both sides here, as the engage has actually already started, but we've got a Rhine versus a Winston here, so free shatters here for Marty Barter. He can build it up relatively quickly. They're going to go to the point first. Cristiano Ronaldo go down. Sharp Shot to win, actually, with a great kill there. Playing the Ashe, I think, for the first time. Didn't see him on the Ashe before, so now you're seeing the variances in the comps here as they are going into Night Market. An early advantage here going to TBA, as they are going to hold the point here. Maybe some comp changes coming in. No, looks like Cristiano is actually just going to go in and see if he can get some poke damage here onto Marty Barter. But the rest of the members here are going to start to gather up. I think TBA here is going to have early advantage on the point pulse.
Yeah, they're definitely going to have early advantage, and they're going to be able to build up to a pretty good chunk of the way to 100% just off this comp, because playing dive into this sort of static, more Rhine-based comp is very hard because this point gives a lot of cover. They can't really push out, so it sort of forces them in here, and you really need to play off Heartbeat's far damage.
Yeah, as it looks like here, the engage will actually start to happen here onto the point. The Pharah up in the air here, trying to see if they can target. Lucio ult comes out here to protect the members of TBA, as they are trying to see if they can keep control of this point. Marty Barter coming in with a 180 shatter, not going to really get anybody. Now kills going the way here of Flashpoint. Petticoat actually takes out Paco El Taco, but the Pharah from Heartbeat here just raining rockets, and they do get 54% here on initial by TBA. That's actually a pretty good start.
Yeah, that's a very good start. And now this is where we see the composition from TBA have a little bit of trouble. Because when they're not on point and they're not where they want to be, they're going to have to eat a lot of damage to get in position to where, position of where they actually want to be. It's not going to be easy for them to sort of walk through for free here.
Yeah, as a barrage comes raining down here, Petticoat not having the shield there is going to get taken down. This is going to stall up the members of TBA here as Flashpoint giving all they can handle here right at the front door. Boots actually does get a kill here on Marty Barter, so it's going to be just a little bit of a stall here as they wait for the Reinhardt.
Heartbeat did use that barrage last fight, so they don't have that option, but they do have both tank ults online, and a Transcendence that's getting dangerously close for Flashpoint right now. So they need to be wary of that, but if they can get a big Bob, maybe Bob plus barrage, and just spam them with so much damage they can't handle it, they can just break through this.
Oh, bomb on the corner here. Sharpshot is able to take Heartbeat down, but Sharpshot eats it as a punishment here. Graviton will catch 3 members here of Flashpoint as the barrage comes in, but Transcendence up to save everybody. So it looks like that Graviton combo just did not work. Simple here in the air, trying to see if he can get anybody down. Does get Paco El Taco and a little bit of revenge here, but Simple and Yikes both go down. So the Pharmacy says, nay, we're not going to get any more kills, and Flashpoint are holding 80% here pretty much, and we're in last fight territory here for TBA.
Yeah, this is very much last fight territory. Simple, it looked like there's a little bit of miscommunication between Petticoat and Simple just because they waited so long to use that barrage when Paco didn't even have the Transcendence up. And by waiting that long, they sort of lost all of the advantages they had in the fight.
Yeah, Marty Barter goes down here, and that's a huge kill. They had to use the Lucio early, I think. No Marty Barter, but Sharpshot there getting a kill on Ronaldo. Down goes Ronaldo, even up the fight. They get the point back, but can they hold it is the question, as it will be a full-strength Flashpoint here coming in. Marty Barter's not there yet. They lose Yikes in the process, and this is not going to be good. Simple takes out Heartbeat, so 1-for-1 trades here as Ronaldo takes out Petticoat. This is the fight to the finish, folks. The TBA here cannot lose this fight, as Cristiano Ronaldo and Paco El Taco get the fights. Bob getting sent in here will now contest on the point, forces Paco El Taco to use the Transcendence here. Now it's a matter of just seeing if they can get Bob off the point. He gets sent into oblivion here, as the point will actually, no, has not turned yet. Yes, it has, as Sharpshot trying to hold it. Petticoat coming in, trying to see if he can get can he get the Graviton up? No, gets taken down. It's just all Flashpoint all the time, as TBA here is going to get wiped out on the point. Overtime starts to tick down. Nobody here from TBA going to be able to stop it, and Flashpoint will get the first win here. They're not done and out of it yet. People thinking they lost their main tank, this would be all TBA. Not so, say the members of FP.
Yeah, and that was quite the reverse sweep too. After not really finding their footing on Gardens here, they got close, but kind of losing it in the last fight. And then they came back with a vengeance, just completely destroying TBA on Control Center, because they had that Mei strategy that TBA just did not look prepared for. And then we saw Night Market get pretty close, but they did have that 15 or more point advantage. And as soon as they broke the first defense of TBA, they were looking very good on Gardens as well. So
yep, they were absolutely
it's looking like they might have the advantage of some of the patch notes coming in, some of that extra Pharah damage, because we saw Heartbeat getting a lot of value from playing Pharah as well. So One of the things that was changed that I just sort of mentioned with the Pharah is they increased her minimum splash damage. So a little, if you miss your rockets or just get them close, you're more likely to do a higher damage now from that.
Yeah, and that is huge, right? Like that, like with even without a Mercy, which I think Flashpoint sort of ran at the very beginning of Gardens, they were still doing
They
relatively
swapped
decent
very early to it.
release.
Like
Yeah.
within the first fight, I think they just walked back in and swapped Mercy.
Yeah, and then but the thing about it is you saw that advantage with TBA when they ran it right out, and like the
Hmm.
amount of damage that you do with that huge splash damage is just incredible. So Pharmacy actually in there specifically, like if people wanted to counter goats, and people say Pharmacy is one of the ways to do it, you have a lot of splash damage to do it now. So it looks like the team here has to reset a router, so we're having some technical difficulties on the side of TBA. So we're going to go to a little bit of a break here. Flashpoint here up 1-0 in this top of the table match in the Minors division. When we come back, it will be Junkertown. So stay tuned. We're going to have a really good barn burner for the rest of you. So we'll be right back.
You know, the world could always use more heroes. You know, the world could always use more heroes.
Alrighty, folks, we are back. Flashpoint leading this match here between them and TBA 1-0. Pulse, there are additional changes that you realized that came in on the new patch here. Any of those changes can sort of affect this Junkertown match that we're about to see?
A little bit. Junkertown is probably one of the maps that was never really friendly to goats. But like, I was just sort of like during the break, I was talking to you about this because we were just sort of looking at it. I pulled it up, and some of the ones I forgot about were like Lucio boop distance, Pharah boop distance. So they changed the physics of how boops work. We talked about the Junkrat, but in general, the support lineups dynamic is a little bit changed. Lucio isn't as good because he has that speed boost reduction, both from amp and neutral state speed. Zen's Discord is a little bit less for his team, but does more damage himself. So just some of those minor changes that really you'll sort of feel it a little bit more. And then of note, since we see it coming out, Sim and Torba both noticeably buffed. I don't know if that Sim's gonna stay, but you never know. No, okay, the Sim's not gonna stay.
Yeah, Sim's not going to stay. But you see Heartbeat here on an Orisa. Yeah.
Yeah, Orisa Bastion. Ooh, Heartbeat already jumped down, but this Bastion on Paco can really just sit up there and shoot at goats. They can't really do a whole lot about them, especially since Rainbow's just connected to him at the hip.
Yeah, and it looks like here the members of Flashpoint were just sort of testing out to see what TBA here was going to do. Here comes the Sim, and you've got a teleporting Bastion going all the way to the high ground. Interesting positioning here by Flashpoint. Petticoat actually went and tried to face tank Paco El Taco. Not going to really happen as Petticoat got melted down. The members of TBA, though, not allowing the payload to move because, you know what, if you're going to stay up there, we're just going to stay in the house close enough to the payload for it not to go anywhere. As now it's going to force them to teleport all the way around the map and now start shooting into the house. I'm loving it, Pulse. I'm loving it. This is awesome to sort of watch.
Yeah, as Junkertown, this is why you kind of don't run goats, because Bastion's so good here. And you can sort of stall them out, but with the Sim teleporter, ever since they added that in, there's a lot more high ground that you can abuse, especially against goats, with D.Va being the only one that can really contest anything about it.
Yeah, and this was unfortunate here for TBA as they were up against a very, very smart Flashpoint team here, realizing how they could use the Bastion in very interesting ways. Paco El Taco wrapping around here, and those teleports really, really helped him out. Now, they're coming through the choke here as Flashpoint is going to end up meeting TBA here, at least by the bend here, if not at the door. What do they have to be careful here coming in?
They have to make sure they pick a target, stick to it, because they're going to take damage from the Bastion. There's nothing you can do to stop that. Ooh, and we have a disconnect, actually,
we
from
do
this.
have a disconnect. There's going to have to be a pause coming in here. So we're going to put up the technical difficulty screen, which not something I have to put up a lot nowadays, but because we've been very lucky with these disconnects on the side of the Owlet tournament. Not so much here on the other tournaments that we cast, but but like, you know, just recently I think the stability of people's internets have gotten somewhat better as casters
Yeah,
you
a
sort of
little bit.
notice these things.
Yeah. Of note, though, since we do see the Sim in play, I want to talk about the changes. And Sim's a better DPS after this patch. So her left click, it has 3 levels of charge. For anyone that doesn't know or doesn't play Sim enough to know,
Mhm.
has 3 levels of charge. As you lock onto something and deal damage to it consistently, after a certain amount of time, it'll ramp up to the next level. And each one has a certain damage associated. So the time to increase from level 1 to level 2 and level 2 to level 3 has been reduced by 20%. So that means it's going to charge up faster and you're more likely to hit one of those higher tiers in shorter fights. Gives her a little bit more of an edge as a DPS, since she kind of is run as a DPS slot now.
Mhm.
And since you do kind of run her in these DPS slots, generally you kind of have to reconfigure your comp a little bit because she's very close range. You do want to generally run a Bastion Orisa. That's where she's seen a lot of success. And on Junkertown in particular, this is one of the maps where on attack you can sort of run a solo Mercy for the first point, maybe first 2 points, until the Bastion at least dies, who will then likely be the one to swap to the other support.
Yeah.
So just some niche little things about Symmetra. Everyone will hate me when I say this, but Symmetra I think was my second character I learned in this game back when I started in season 1. So it's like back when Sim was literally the first point defense queen, like you'd run her on A for everything and then
Yeah.
swap to someone like Mercy or something for B, because Teleporter was just a different beast back then, and she was oppressive on first points of 2CP or first point on pretty much any map.
I just loved Sim. See, the part about Sim that I loved is the fact that you really didn't have to aim. Remember, that beam was auto-locking. So as long as you knew how to use that shield that she had, that would, I think, was that like
Well,
sort of...
I mained her before the shield was
Oh,
even in,
you made
actually.
her before the shield. Okay.
Yeah, so back when you just hit E on people's character models, she gets 25 health.
25 shield.
Or 25, yeah, it's
Yeah.
additional 25 shield on everything.
Which when you really think about it, was just sort of bad.
Yeah,
That-
it was really good, and
Yeah.
they had a good reason for changing it because it was very passively good.
Yeah.
Like as a sim, you didn't need to be great at aim, and just by existing, you kind of made the other team groan a little bit.
Yeah, so it looks like Marty Barter here back on to the game. He has joined here, just making sure everybody's going to be ready. The pause still here in effect. Want to make sure that everybody's coming in. Looks like they're going to give up the pause, so we are going to transition back here into the game.
And the smartest thing for TBA to do right now is just give up this point. They won't have a full 6, so they definitely do not want to feed more ults possible, and it's exactly what they do. They want to set up for a defense here to drop on the Bastion, sort of harass them in some way, but they're going to have to figure out where he is and make sure they collapse on him properly.
That's very, very smart here of TBA. That you can tell that they knew they were behind. They lost their main tank. They had no reason to just sort of feed ultimate charge here to them. So just give up point A, make sure you have a better fight, and that's what they're going to do. They're going to use the Lucio ult here to see if they can engage Paco El Taco here up at the top. But Petticoat got melted down, just not enough, too much damage here up at the top, but everybody went down. So the strategy here was not to actually go high, but instead take the payload and make them come to them. They realized that the everybody here is undercover, so it's not like the Bastion can shoot at them. So it's a very interesting strategy.
It's a very funny strategy because we see Flashpoint very committed to this high ground. Like they know they cannot be anywhere near the ground, or else TBA will just run them over for free, pretty much.
Yeah.
But the only one that could ever really contest the Bastion is Petticoat, because she's the one that's got the boosters, the only one with vertical mobility. But then you kind of get into these weird stalemates where no one can fight because everyone's undercover and the defense isn't in position to touch the card at all. So
it's basically,
and I don't think either team is very comfortable with how to break another.
well, that's the thing. It's like I dare you to come at me, bro. It's basically the strategy that both teams are sort of using as a Graviton comes out here and catch Paco El Taco. That bomb is on the wrong side. That's going to blow up Paco El Taco of the shield. So there's just nothing they can sort of do about it. Heartbeat here onto the payload now, and they're going to be able to move. So it looks like it was Flashpoint who got the better of that fight, as Cristiano Ronaldo and Company now teleporting to the high ground, trying to see if they can keep Paco El Taco alive and make sure that they can keep TBA at bay.
Like I said, it's sort of each fight basically breaks down to teleporting Paco El Taco around until he finally gets the perfect angle that works against the defense. But the defense is still a little bit shaky on how to break this.
Yeah. And they don't really have high ground mobility when they to even get there. So their strategy has pretty much boiled down to find cover around areas where you can stall the payload and then dare them to come at us. So it's basically, that's what it's come down to. So like you see Paco El Taco shooting into this hallway, which is not really doing very much, as they're just content with just sort of holding the ground. Bob now actually onto the payload as a as a Transcendence here, coming in from TBA to just even stall and kill more time here. Oh, looks like Bob goes down. Not going to be anything they're going to do. TBA here still in control as Paco El Taco rotating around again, finding a different angle. They lose Marty Barter on the side of TBA here, and now slowly but surely they're going to be able to move this unless they keep getting stalled. Now ult here coming from Paco El Taco. He's going to take it upon himself to see if he can shoot anybody down. got rockets coming in here as it is Jonak trying to sort of play around the point, not going to be able to do so. Paco El Taco taking his vengeance out onto everyone. Marty Barter comes right back and immediately gets melted, and that's going to be the point here for Flashpoint.
Yeah, they finally get it. And like I said, that was just in general a really funny map, because for as much as the defense kind of looked helpless, they really took off a lot of time.
Yeah.
Just by waiting around corners and stalling. But they really do need to swap off this comp, because they've sort of been at a loss this whole time, and they've just been getting stomped by this high ground Bastion teleporting thing, but they've kept playing into it. They haven't really switched until this point. So we finally see Marty Barter switch to this Winston. We finally see Sharpshooter on the Hanzo. They have the Sombra on and now, so they're making some swaps necessary to counter this finally.
Yeah, and here the Petticoat here has to time defense matrix in time for them to come in, but Petticoat actually got demeched as they were about to sort of dive in there and do something about it. Not going to be able to do that now. Sharpshot actually got eliminated too. So Paco El Taco still on the high ground here, being able to shoot relatively freely, as now he's teleported around as he's sort of moving slightly ahead of the payload here. I like what Flashpoint are doing here, because it is really keeping TBA on their toes. Marty Barter and the Lucio here on the back, and now with a 5,000 HP shield, they're not going to be able to do anything about that. Bomb actually goes off here onto the payloads, not going to be able to sort of just move members here of TBA. TBA again content to just sort of stall the payload out and just kill more clock. Boots here able to take down 2 with a big dynamite, and they keep moving here. Flashpoint slowly but surely making their way to the point.
Yeah, this has just been slow and steady from TBA, or from Flashpoint, this whole map. And again, it just looks like they don't know how to break this. They've made some swaps a little too late in this map, and they have cut off a lot of time, but it's not one of these maps you can just win for free.
Yeah, you saw there finally they committed to taking out Paco El Taco, and they absolutely do so. But 50 seconds left on the clock. It is in a fairly decent position, honestly. Like, they've played the long game versus Flashpoint, and they're coming out ahead here, as Flashpoint is going to need to come all the way around, and Simple getting a really good stagger kill here onto Rainbow.
Yes.
My goodness, that's going to really mess them up, as change is coming abound here for Flashpoint. No ult's going to be available for them, and huge advantage here for TBA.
Yeah, but we see them entirely swap to last second panic goats, so they're going to try and just rush point and force them to play on it. And this is, if Marty Barter plays this right and doesn't get picked down and gets out in time, so if they play this high ground and just sort of make sure that Diva and Winston take turns stalling out this cart while they all just sort of shell on them from high ground, they have a very good chance of closing this out right now.
Oh, a Nano Blade coming here. Can they get they get to the point here, but what is Simple trying to target? He gets Paco El Taco, but that was the only target that he was able to get. He's been sort of distracted here with Heartbeat. He does get Heartbeat down, but he gets taken out himself, as the rest of the members here on the point are going to get cleared out. Overtime's going to tick down. They're going to come back here. Fight's going the way here of TBA, as Petticoat, not having to deal with a Bastion now, is able to just sort of focus on the tanks here and the Brigitte of what is on the point. Paco El Taco coming back here on a Hammond. And so now the Hammond, we'll see if the changes are actually going to be better quality of life-wise, as Simple takes out Ronaldo. Looks like Heartbeat coming in from Sharpshot. This fight continues. It will not end. Overtime has been going on for a good 30 seconds now. Marty Barter left, only person left here on the point, as it looks like Flashpoint here might just outlast the members here of TBA, as they're still continuing here on the point. Petticoat looking for the bomb, trying to stay alive long enough to maybe use the bomb here to clear them all out. Here it comes. Nobody can leave the point. Gets Grumpy Kitten down, but down goes the Lucio, as Grumpy Kitten got Lucio with her bomb, and the fight goes on. It will continue here as the Lucio ult comes out here from Rainbow to keep the push going. Yikes, and Marty Barter both go down. It's a matter of Simple. Can he stay alive? No, he can't. Overtime here, not in the advantage of TBA, as TBA is going to get... Oh no! Here comes a dragon to clear out the point. Can anybody stay on it? That's the real question. The fight will continue. Big shatter from Heartbeat. He's going to catch the remaining members of TBA. They're going to clear it out. They finally get it. Oh, Pulse, my voice is gone.
That, I don't know if you caught it, but everything was looking like it was going for the defense for TBA there.
Yeah.
Up until Marty Barter primaled, and punched the charging Ryan Heartbeat into his own team member to kill Sharpshot
Oh
on
no,
Hanzo.
I did not see that. No.
And that's what ended up turning it too. So first of all, we saw Flashpoint just throw a bunch of health, just started picking tanks, picking fast tanks to get back.
Yeah.
And just that one play really just gave them the footing that they need to have one up on the payload and start reversing the spawn clocks back in their favor.
Oh my goodness. Oh no. They're going to watch the... They were asking if I was going to have a VOD of this available. They're going to see it. And they're going to realize, man, TBA is going to realize it's just like, it's the little things. Just got to be super careful here about... And if that was the little thing here that turned that fight into the favor of Flashpoint here, but let's not say that TBA doesn't have a good offense under their sleeve too. They're going to look like they're going to be going for their own Bastion Orisa combo here as they're getting ready here for their sort of mini pirate ship. As it looks like it is going to be goats here on the defense here from Flashpoint.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to do a forward slam hold. So they're going to, as soon as the doors open, give them a second or two, give them a false sense of hope, and then just charge at them and take out the Bastion. So the offense needs to be really careful. Make sure that they peek, don't get caught off guard, and get that Bastion high ground.
Yeah, well, they see him now. There's a great arrow there just to make sure where they know where they're going to be. So Simple, Petticoat, and Marty Barter here are going to be ready. So they need to protect this Bastion at all costs. So here they come. They're going to come out of there, and they're going to know that they're already there. The Bastion actually backed up because he didn't actually want to stay on the point. His Simple actually ran. That might not be what you wanted to do because you probably wanted to shoot in there. So the fight here might go the way of the defense. Petticoat here is going to get D-Mech, and this is going to be a fight win here for Flashpoint. Pulse, break it down. What did they do wrong?
We saw Flashpoint use cover really well, and that's exactly what you need to do against a Bastion when they're not running that sim, sort of. And since they're not running that sim, they've sort of had they were at the disadvantage where Flashpoint had that sim, and they can just outrange them by always teleporting high ground. But we didn't see Simple get that high ground. He sort of waited on cart until the last second and then just panicked and ran.
Oh, yeah. So what he needed to do is probably rotate out, but it looks like here they've actually won this next fight, as it looks like they did take the advantage there. The payload is moving slowly through that little mini choke, and Flashpoint here is sort of trapped inside Junkertown proper. A Sharpshot here gone to the pharmacy with Yikes. Just raining rockets and spam is giving them a hell of a lot of space here. Marty Barter hanging out through the door, looking for a lot of sort of cleave damage here with the with the laser gun, and down he goes. So he didn't actually last very long, but Sharpshot here getting the rockets that he needs. Heartbeat takes down Petticoat as a sleep here. Great grenade, finish off Heartbeat. He only needs one hit on the rocket. Down he goes. It is going to be just Sharpshot and Simple here left onto the point. Advantage though still here with TBA slightly because the spawn point here really close to them as the engage will continue. Cristiano Ronaldo trying to see if he can get Marty Barter down. He has to use the rally, so 3-man rally only going to be in, so they're going to be short-handed here, but TBA realized this fight not really going their way, so they're going to back up a little bit and regroup to 6.
Yeah, and Sharpshot got really greedy. He could have lived there and saved them some time on the clock, but sort of hung around too long at 1 health. They do have the composition and they have the ults that they need to win this fight, but they need to not die to make sure their tanks don't fall too fast.
No, Petticoat actually did get Rainbow there with a bomb that was really high up in the air. So they do have the 6v5 advantage here, and Marty actually will get shattered here along with Petticoat and Simple. Charge going in, and that's a huge kill. Taking Simple down, and the Ana you lose a lot of healing here. So Flashpoint doing what they need to do. Paco El Taco finishes off Marty Barter, and Petticoat gets D-mech'd here. Don't want to stagger the Baby Diva a little bit. Nope. Instead, they're just going to take her down. Minute 10 left here, and Flashpoint looking very solid here on point A.
If we don't see TBA find a way to crack this, they're likely not even going to be able to cap point A. But so far, Sharpshot has been very greedy on the far, just sort of beeline towards the back line, as 3 or 4 people are shooting at him. And it's just been leaving their team without a lot of damage that they need to open up these fights. As a far, you can't really be the one sort of trying to flank all the time.
Yeah, so it looks like here Paco El Taco actually eliminates Simple too. The team is split. This is not very good here for what is going on for TBA. Their tanks aren't going to be able to protect who they need to protect here into the back line. Hanzo actually will take out Rainbow again, but the Transcendence here will protect the members of Flashpoint onto the point. 22 seconds left to go. They don't have time here for a full reset, so they're probably going to have to attack short-handed. Petticoat's got to be super careful, does not want to get demeched here while the rest of the team are still in spawn. 10 seconds left to go. They need to move it, so anybody who can touch the point is going to need to go. Simple leading the charge here, but she's going to get melted down if she doesn't be careful. They got to get close. They don't get close enough as they get Graviton right before the point, and Flashpoint are going to take the win at a 2-0 lead here on the TBA.
Yeah, it wasn't even the Graviton, they just didn't get there in time. That's not something you can do, especially if you want to be fighting for this first spot in the Minors division right now.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. I think they thought they might have had more time than they thought, but instead are going to get taken down here, and this is not good here for TBA. TBA, even though they were on a bit of a roll. They knew going into this map they could possibly even take first place in the Minors division, but it's just gone wrong today for them. And unfortunately here, they're now down 2-0 to Flashpoint as we go into Volskaya. Are there any adjustments that TBA needs to do here to sort of right the ship? Because they definitely need a win badly on this map.
I mean, the obvious answer is yes, because they haven't won either of the first two. But things have just gone downhill for them since they asked map. They won the very first map of Lijiang that we saw, and after that, it's just sort of been downhill ever since we saw Boots pull out the Mei on Control Center.
Yeah.
And I don't have a solid answer other than because both teams have been getting picks here and there. TBA in general has been slow to adapt. It looks like adapt pre-planned strategies coming in, because we saw them roll out on that double sniper Bastion, especially after they got rolled, and that was something that you really don't want to run into a team that just did a variant of that but better to you. So with that, the way the new sim works, sim Bastion's a little bit stronger than that double sniper Bastion, especially since Goats is still a thing. And as soon as they sonic arrowed, saw them all waiting in that room, they could have set up properly for it, but they just didn't. All sat on cart, and then as soon as they started walking out, they all panicked and tried to run for their lives, leaving their Mercy to die and then the Bastion to die. And then it's just, I guess, a lack of adaptation. A lack of adaptation in pre-planned strategies is really the biggest thing I see coming out from TBA that's sort of been their downfall so far.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right here. So I think Flashpoint has just come out with like a sort of like a plan here to deal with what they've seen here come out of TBA, and that is, I think, the sort of advantage that they have now with regards to it all. So we're gonna go here to a halftime break. Flashpoint up 2-0 in this match here against TBA. When we come back, it's going to be Volskaya Industries. TBA going to be desperate for a win here, but stay tuned. We're gonna have we're gonna see whether or not if TBA can get one back and make this a real game, or can Flashpoint close it out here in the next map. Stay tuned.
が敵を食らう
Owlet
All right, folks. I hope you enjoyed the video there, courtesy of
Initiating
Reddit.
match.
That was the patch changes from 3/19/2019, which is today. Pulse and I have been talking about those patch changes pretty much all cast. You get to see them visually in action, some of which are really like some of the minor ones. Probably going to play a big part in what you're going to see in Overwatch League in Stage 2, especially if there's going to be a little bit more somber play. It's going to be easier, besides looking at the top, to see who's hacked, because they're going to be glowing like a Christmas tree, Pulse.
And in general, like, I've these two teams are pretty high up, so I guess they really don't want to
Ready
be
for
experimental against each other.
Mhm.
But I have been a little disappointed that we haven't seen more experiments between these two teams, especially since at this SR you can really play to your individual strengths rather than composition strength. And like of those changes, it's like we've seen Sim just a little bit, but not really making use of any of her changes. We haven't seen any Tor, we haven't seen any Junkrat, which is like, there are so many gold Junkrat players. I'm surprised that no one has been like, I'm doing this right now. Because
Well,
especially against goats, like if you run Pharah Junkrat, that's something that's like not necessarily a counter to goats, but it really gives goats a hard time, and no team has pulled that out yet.
well, we know a certain sort of diamond healer who's going to take those Junkrat changes and maybe make masters with them. So shout out to Shadow, who's out probably somewhere right now enjoying life as a Junkrat. As we see the members of Flashpoint here established here up on top, they're going to try to use this Symmetra teleporter to move boots around, similar to the way that they sort of used what's been going on here. Oops, my chat is up here, so let me hide chat here, so that way you guys.
We do see a lot of changes coming out from the attackers as well. They tried to scout it out, and scout it out they did, but they also spent a lot of time sort of thinking about what to counter this. So they already lost more or less a minute off of this push just by sort of thinking about how to counter it and not really doing anything.
And as we say that, technical difficulties abound here, as it looks like there needs to be some sort of edit. I'm thinking is because there was an observer who was not colored properly or not assigned to a proper team, uh, because all members here are available on both sides. So sorry about this, folks. Just going to get in another pause. I think this is the most pauses that we've had during a match in a while now, Pulse. I mean, even through VCOI
Possibly.
and this, I think, right?
Uh, it's up there. I don't know if it's the most, but it's definitely up there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if they're going to reset this map because of that or not. But if they don't, we already see TBA sort of be at a pretty big time disadvantage. They're only gonna have 3 minutes to attack this first point. They didn't really set up, and a lot of that was kind of them just trying to figure out how to counter this in spawn. They sent Somber out to check, then they sort of walked back and they sort of made a couple swaps. We're sitting in spawn, made a couple more swaps. So just a lot of things you want to scout properly and make swaps so you're not countered like they were for so long on Junkertown, but you kind of want to pick up the pace a little bit so you don't lose an entire minute off the clock for it. They finally decide to settle on this hack and slash, which is in general a good composition if you have the players that can play the Genji, the Ana, the Sombra, because if you play this composition about 2 minutes into your attack, you should be able to get point A for free off of a what's known as the hack and slash, the EMP blade and nano on the Genji. So that's really their win condition. They want to play for this EMP nano blade and then just clean up the point off of that.
Yeah, the real issue about this is they need to find a position where they can build the blade, build the EMP at a relatively similar rate. And it looks like you do have a hack there, and actually they get boots right away, so they absolutely get what they want here. Symmetra and the Bastion both go down. Heartbeat, though, is able to demech the Diva. Rainbow actually is able to get the res off onto boots, and that is huge. They did not get the Mercy in all of that, so they are allowed to sort of establish themselves back up onto the point. But way to go, Sharp Shot takes out 2, takes out 3 as Heartbeat goes down here too, and this fight win is going to go here to TBA. They did what they needed to do. No afraid of the Bastion this time for them.
They set it up properly, and they made the most of that time bank to make sure that they'd roll into this point B with 6 minutes left, which is, after losing that much time, if they had lost that first fight, they'd be at such a deficit right now. And they're sort of rolling into this point B exactly where they want to be. They have the blade up already. They can take their time, build up this EMP from this high ground behind them. They can build up a nano just from poke damage and having the on a heal tank. So if they play this slow, make sure that they can get these big ults up and close off of this next push, then they can just win.
Yeah, they need to realize too that there was a large switch here done by Flashpoint, so none of their members have ult really, except for the two that didn't, which was Paco El Taco and Grumpy Kitten. Instead, though, Flashpoint just using the power of the goats to make sure that TBA gets sent packing back to spawn. But they could have gone a little slower here, waited for Simple maybe to just sort of slowly build up the EMP, and then probably gone at them instead of just sort of trying to rush in, though. What do you think?
Yeah, they sort of tripped on their own feet. The tanks decided to dive in too early, not really poking to give your Ana the chance to build up that nano that you need, get the Sombra to hack that she needs, and as soon as they're hacked, they all just jumped right into the fryer, basically. But they're coming into this fight with 6 ults, so they still have a pretty good win condition as long as they just don't get a team shatter bombed by Heartbeat and Grumpy Kitten.
Yeah, Paco El Taco switched here to the Zen in order to increase the damage, as looks like there goes the Genji, the Nano Blade here coming in. They've got the bomb here. That's going to clear out the point a little bit. Marty Barter actually gets taken down, but advantage here still with TBA. Hack onto Grumpy Kitten. No defense matrix means no defense here as he gets discorded and demech'd here. So TBA looking really good here on the offense, but Petticoat getting demech'd might be big. Transcendence coming out here to just sort of try to see if they can save remaining members of the team. Simple gets Paco El Taco slightly off the point. They don't have a tick yet, which is huge, as Sharpshot here gets charged, but is going to stay alive. Unreal! They were unable to kill the Genji here, but it looks like Flashpoint, with a huge fire strike from Heartbeat, are going to be able to hold this point. After all of those ults, Flashpoint are going to survive, and it's going to be back to the drawing board here for TBA. My goodness, what a defense there.
The one thing that sort of signaled the end for their attack was a very, very late trans from just on the Zen. And it did it after your main tank already died, did it after it was already demech'd, when it was up at the beginning of the fight. So you can't really let that happen, especially if you want to be able to steamroll, and they don't even get a tick off of that. They lose 3 minutes of the clock and have nothing to show for it now. And the only thing that they really have now is an EMP, which is nice, but they don't really have anything to follow up with this EMP unless they just all press W, all focus the exact same target, and make the most of it. But you're going to have your Zarya have some energy, because that's the only damage coming out from this comp right now.
Yeah, you see Flashpoint here being a little bit paranoid because they know Simple's around somewhere. They're trying to make sure that they don't fall to that EMP. And here it comes. They immediately get everybody, but he didn't get Rainbow, so they're going to be able to use Shield here to sort of block off all the damage that's going to be trying to come in, though. They do get 2 kills as a Graviton will come in and capture the offense. Bomb gets placed right next to him, and Grumpy Kitten gets the combo off. Great job here by Flashpoint. That engage was sloppy. Simple needed to get Rainbow and was unable to do so. They were able to shield, and that was that, Pulse. My goodness.
Yeah, I would say everything leading up to Rainbow's play was fine, because as Sombra, you want to get that Lucio, but Rainbow was hiding, so
yeah.
Rainbow knew to look out for it, was hiding properly. Simple gets a big 5-man EMP, but it's just as soon as the barrier comes out and the target focus and the tank's falling very fast, there was not much they could have do in that fight other than just force out the support ults.
Yeah, I mean, like, the Rainbow did a good job there with regards to it. Now you've got some trades here. Both Brigitte's down, but Heartbeat going down here, giving the advantage here to TBA. So they have their opening. Boots goes down too. So here it is. TBA's got their shot here. They need to get Rainbow down. Transcendence actually coming down here, but Rainbow doing a fantastic job delaying. Finally, there's still one person here left on point as the Diva flies up into the air, and they still have not given up a tick yet. Here onto this point, Petticoat will take Heartbeat down as this fight will continue as Paco El Taco takes down Marty Breaker, and that could break the backs here of TBA. Grumpy Kitten getting demech'd. It's going to be big here for the defense. Lucio coming out here from Jonak. as a bomb will get sent into the air, and now huge advantage for TBA. They're going to get their tick now. It'll be a matter of how much they get. On the back of this Transcendence, Heartbeat's going to stay alive, even though he's discorded. So Paco El Taco's trying to stay with his main tank as much as possible, but Heartbeat still gets melted down here eventually. Ronaldo gets gravitoned and held into the corner. Rainbow back along with Grumpy Kitten, so they're going to be able to sort of split him up a little bit, but not enough, as TBA here finally going to be able to lock down that point after about 3 or 4 false starts there, but they do get the 2 points.
And they lost a little bit more time than they probably should have, but they finished with about a minute left, so better than nothing. But unfortunately they don't have that over 1 minute left sort of milestone, because if they did, then some interesting mechanics would come into play for the next sort of round of this, because Volsky has been one of those maps where you generally see a lot of people get point A and B, especially with goats coming out. Like, a lot of people get B with around a minute left, so it's kind of a slog. But if you can keep yourself over that minute time bank and the other team finishes in overtime, then it gives you and only your team a chance to attack point A again, as opposed to sort of if you finish under a minute and one team finishes in overtime, then both teams get a chance to attack A again. So some niche things happening behind the scenes there for how rounds are determined.
Exactly, and that keeps with the amount of time on the clock, TBA is still in this. So, like, Flashpoint here need to capture both points. So, the situation is this: TBA.
They want to capture both points, and they want to capture point B with as much time on the clock as possible. But even if they don't and they finish in overtime, they still have a chance to win it.
Yes, they absolutely do. So because they're under a minute, they get that extra minute no matter what. So completion is going to be necessary here for Flashpoint. TBA actually pulling out Sharpshot. Sharpshot going in for a last minute change. He's not on the point yet, so they're split up very, very badly, so they're going to have to wait for him to come back as he goes to the Ash here. So not everybody here on the defense ready to go, as Sharpshot will come in.
But the attackers don't notice, and they have a chance to set up exactly where they want to be for this.
Oh, that's when you should be pressing tab, folks. Always press tab at the beginning, see if they didn't, but they don't. So lucky for them, they're able to sort of even out, as Simple actually takes Boots down. Early kill here, and Grumpy Kitten getting demeched also. Not very good here for Flashpoint, but immediately they started just charging onto the point. They know their advantage is gone here, so it'll be a matter of whether or not they can get an extra kill, or are they going to just sort of regroup and sort of come back. Petticoat actually gets Grumpy Kitten down here, so huge stagger with no D.Va, so I think most of the members here are going to be fighting back. Ronaldo going to be flowing back to the rest of his team. Reset called, 1 minute already off the clock.
Yeah, 1 minute off the clock. This is a little interesting because we're in a very situation that we saw on TBA's first attack, in that they lost a minute because they spent it scouting. So nothing too huge right now. They're still on par to take this as fast or faster than Flashpoint did, but they really want to be able to take this point on this fight.
Yeah, and here comes the dive here on the defense, as it looks like they're just going to be fighting a high ground left here. It's a very interesting position. Heartbeat actually does take down Sharpshot, so advantage here going to the offense. Boots takes down Marty Barter too, so 2 up 2 now. Oh, but comeback here slightly from TBA, but Grumpy Kitten takes down Yikes, and that's going to be huge. Looks like a Dragon actually coming in onto the point here to just sort of even it out. Kills and Rez is coming in on the side here of Flashpoint. Basically, this is a mirror of what TBA did to them. They're going to capture this point with over 6 minutes to go to try to capture point B.
Both teams captured point A with about 6 minutes to attack point B, so this is still anyone's game. Everything's on the clock. We do see more advantageous ults to the offense right now. They have matching primals, but they also have Heartbeat with the barrage. And if they can't shut down this barrage, if they're not paying attention to it, then they really need to play for the barrage and use that as a snowball chance.
Yeah, they actually dive the high ground back here in order to see if they can remove the defenders here off the high ground, as Ronaldo here is getting pocketed by the Mercy. He's going to be able to take down Simple, so they do have their advantage. Oh, what a kill there by Ronaldo onto the side. Will remove the Lucio from the field. The barrage actually comes in, and Flashpoint here looking absolutely fantastic. TBA's been pushed back to spawn. They've already gotten 2 ticks here. Simple is back. He's back on the Hammond, and he's doing the spin to win here as he's trying to make sure he stays on the ball. They're not gonna be able to sort of focus and kill him here because they just don't have enough DPS to focus in on do so. Taco finally finishes him down as a bomb gets sent into the back area, and both Marty Barter and Yikes get taken out as the fight will continue here onto the point. Now it's just a matter of cleaning up. Petticoat here getting D-Max still onto the point. Gotta make sure that they get rid of that baby diva as both Sharpshot and her get taken down. Back comes Simple here onto that Hammond. That shield basically keeping him alive, trying to sort of make sure that the members here of Flashpoint unable to sort of hold. He's actually making sure he stays still, gets shot from the Ana as Marty Barter here gets taken down finally, and Simple actually builds up his ult far enough so that there are mines on the field. Boots gets taken down before he takes Yikes with the pulse bomb here. Petticoat is coming back here, trying to see if they can get Grumpy Kitten out of the mech. Diva Bomb actually is going to kill members here. Too many members. Rainbow and Cristiano Ronaldo go down as Petticoat takes 2 out with that huge bomb. It looks like TBA here are going to be able to reset as Paco El Taco is the only member here left on the point. He's going to have to abandon. Boots got to realize that the rest of his team is down, but they refuse to give up. The fight will continue here. Nobody here on the point left, and finally I think everybody jumped ship, and TBA are able to rescue it here after about a 2.5 minute fight.
Oh, what a slog that fight was too. Eventually, the Hammond pick saving them because Flashpoint was just unable to shoot the ball as it spun around on point. A couple good Winston shields, and both teams invested pretty much everything they had into it during that fight, which, I mean, you want to as the defense, but at some point you should have just been farming ults as the offense. So a little bit not in position to take this fight, but they could still have a chance to win if they get early pick.
Yeah, that dive though was very, very good, and timely Lucio ult there will catch the ulting monkeys there into the back as Ronaldo here trying to see if he can do anything. But Boots taking out Simple here, losing DPS, very, very big here for TBA. They can't afford to do that. Diva Bomb gets sent back into the back area again. Grumpy Kitten huge again, and that will close out the map. Flashpoint here had close to 3 minutes. I think they might have had like 3:01 or just under it.
Score.
TBA now will get 5 seconds
Switching sides.
back.
Yeah,
3:03.
2:58 is what they had because
My
both sides got 5 seconds.
Initiate
Very good bombs from Grumpy Kitten to open up both those fights, just sending it into the exact same spot both times. But both times the defense was just unprepared for it there. Landed right behind point, so it picked up anyone in the arch, anyone behind those sort of waiting behind point to stall, which pretty much everyone was, so it just cleared it out and opened up fights for them both times.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what TBA have to do now here. They had 4 minutes before to sort of scout and figure out what they wanted to do. Now with only a minute, Simple has to relay back what Flashpoint here is going to be running in order to figure the puzzle out here on point A, because they need to make sure they capture point A to actually have a chance still in this match. A draw will not help them. Flashpoint can win it off of a draw here if they're able to full hold them. They will ensure themselves a win if they've actually full hold them here on point A. It's pressure time here coming up for TBA. They have to make sure they get this right, and it looks like Simple's actually going to switch off the Sombra and will go Pharmacy right away, so they're going to go full attack here, Pulse. I think that's what they had to do.
Yeah, you have to know the defense is going to be running Goats in this situation because they just have to hold a couple fights, and Goats is one of those comps that's pretty good at holding for more than a minute, so if they don't play to cover, that's really their fault, but if they play cover properly and just press WM1 like they're doing right now, they're going to shut down a lot of the attack right now.
Yeah, as Ronaldo actually takes down Yikes here, who wasn't able to stay up in the air. That's a huge, huge kill. As Boots by D-Max Petticoat too. There needs to be a reset to come now. They can't really do anything about it. Ronaldo gets taken down, so that could be their advantage here. But Boots takes down Marty Barter. No, they're losing time. They're not going to have their monkey here in order to sort of push point A. They need this cap because they can't be full held here at 2-2. This is not what TBA wants to do. They're going to start moving in now. The Pharmacy is going to start to push in. Somebody's going to be able to have to start overtime here. The rest of the Goats comp here has sort of fallen back on the point. 2 seconds left to go. Sharp shot to win is going to trigger overtime here, but he's got to stay alive. Cannot feed in this situation. Simple tried to use the barrage, not going to be able to do so, as it looks like the Ana grenade there was able to catch members of Flashpoint, but were unable to take them out. Heartbeat takes out Sharp Shot, and Yikes goes down too. This has not gone the way of TBA. TBA getting knocked out one by one. Petticoat is all in her lonesome without a mech, not going to be able to do anything, as Marty Barter here will try to get onto the point, not going to be able to do so. Overtime ticks down, and Flashpoint ensures themselves a win here, because it will be a draw at least, and TBA will not be able to make up the difference. So that is that. Oh my goodness, TBA unable to close it out and at least get a tick here to give themselves a fighting chance. But with 3:03 left to go and nothing to make up the point, Flashpoint here will at least earn themselves a draw.
Yeah, and like you said, Flashpoint will have a win tonight with a map differential of at least +1, because the finals, the best case for TBA map score would be 2-1 after this draw. But they're really going to, especially with 3 or 4 people tied for first, they're going to want to improve on this. So there's no going, they definitely don't want to go easy on them now to be experimental. They want all of these maps if possible.
Yeah, they're not going to pull a Vancouver and just sort of play fun comps here at the end. They need that differential. You're right.
Yeah, we do see TBA trying to pull out the same stuff that we saw, a little bit different because they're not running that sim, but similar things to the first defense. But I don't know if it's going to work. Like, since we've seen Flashpoint play this comp, and we just see the defense sort of adopting it now, playing it sort of lets you know how to crack. And you can play what you want. You have 2 more minutes than the attackers, so everything right now is favoring Flashpoint.
Yeah, they can afford to be patient, and they can afford to not capture the point, but getting the point here will give them a 3-0 advantage, and will give them a huge leg up here with regards to map differential. But losing Rainbow here early on is going to split the team a little bit, as your tanks are stuck in the hole on the side. But the defense here set up by TBA here, if you see it, it's a bunker comp defense here in the back corner, so it's basically daring Flashpoint to sort of come at the point where they're going to get shot. They do have the right composition here to sort of dive at that corner, but they've got to deal with a hell of a lot of spam here coming in from Simple and that Bastion.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny because Heartbeat's fighting this like face on, but if they set for a boop here, they can easily knock some people off the side of the map and take this for free.
Yeah, so they've got to be super, super careful. As you see Ronaldo here and Paco El Taco just sort of hanging out by the sides, and they just got to be super careful they don't get booed. As Cristiano Ronaldo here, she'll jump onto the point here. Heartbeat, though, does get taken down, but they've actually moved themselves into sort of a better position and forced Simple down. But Fizzbumble here are going to finish off the rest of the members here, as Heartbeat, though, takes Sharp Shot down. Rez coming in. Looks like not coming in, as Grumpy Kitten actually gets taken down here at the end. So defense holding here from TBA, as they've been able to burn down about half the time. Paco El Taco and Heartbeat still alive here, as Heartbeat is just in the back being a nuisance at this point, waiting for the rest of his team members to come back.
And as far you don't have Barrage, and you had Lucio over there with you, but unfortunately a little bit slow to follow Paco El Taco out and gets picked off. So they're going to be stalled even more now. The defense is going to be able to get that high ground bunker position again. The attackers might get some picks off this Ana if they chase her all the way back, but it looks like they're going to leave her at some point. So
yeah, it looks like Grumpy Kitten and Boots here are just sort of poking, trying to figure out what they can do. They're trying to see if they can sneak this point, literally. If they can just maybe get onto the point. Rainbow gets taken down again with less than a minute left to go here. Losing your Mercy at this situation, not going to be very good at all here for the offense. They're going to nano boost that D.Va, and she's going to try to go in and see what healers she can take out. Does take out Grumpy Kitten and Boots there. So now with 45 seconds left to go, is last chance saloon time here coming in for Flashpoint, as Heartbeat gets staggered there very, very late. So this is not very good here for Flashpoint, but they're not really trying very hard, I think, Pulse.
Yeah, we haven't seen the same level of play right now that they've been doing earlier. I think they've just been trying to get ults up for fun in a way. Petticoat throwing away a D.Va bomb in between fights. That was sort of one of their last chances to save this point if things went wrong. But now we have Primal, we have an EMP, and we have a Barrage, which is pretty much everything they need to wipe this point. They just need to get in and set up for this dive.
Yeah, and here they come. EMP comes in, and here they come. They got to make sure that just somebody stays onto the point here, because they don't want to C9 it. That's the last thing that they would want after trying to build up all of these ults. Bob comes out here and will go onto the point and contest. Actually, he gets thrown into the hole here. Grumpy Kitten takes 2 down, as Bob actually gets put in the hole. Not going to be very effective, as members here dropping like flies from TBA as they're going down. It looks like it's going to be the Ana left, and that's going to do it. Flashpoint here are going to get the 3-0 in this map, and help their differential. So minimum +2 here to Flashpoint, and the match will also go to them.
It looks like they sort of threw away the first 2.5 minutes of their attack. They could have done things much smoother to build up those ults, but I think they knew they had a win condition. They were just sort of coasting towards it.
Yeah, it was just one of those things. You saw them slowly and surely moving it through. They knew they really didn't have to sort of push very hard. So they just basically waited for all their ults and made it easy on themselves to sort of push. So they take all of their time in order to take Volskaya, and they absolutely do so there at the end, giving them here a 3-0 win. There goes my... we're going to be talking about this match here on the Nest. I am thinking I actually called TBA to win this. I am wrong. Goes to show what I know
Your
here.
March Madness poll.
I know.
It's screwed.
Yeah, it is absolutely terrible. And for those who are interested, I will be starting an Owlet March Madness group. For anybody who does want to do the March Madness pool, I will post that shortly here into general. It'll be Yahoo based, so for anybody on the stream who is interested, it will be called Owlet Tournament NCAA Picks. That will be set up here shortly. I will link it into the chat in general. For those in general in the Discord in the Owlet Tournament. If you're not on the Owlet Tournament Discord, check the links below, because I think an invite to the Discord here is below. But it'll be for fun, bragging rights for anybody who is interested in the NCAA tournament that will be starting on Thursday. Pulse, did you know that it is also the #1 most gambled event in the world?
It's just I don't think I knew that per se, but it's one of those things that after being in college for a bit and after like starting a job, everywhere does March Madness polls. So
Yeah, it is also one of the short of the first day of the World Cup. The Thursday, Friday games they cost productivity in the United States alone upwards of $7 to $8 billion in productivity is lost because of the NCAA tournament. They said
amazing.
that is only second to the World Cup. The first day of the World Cup, because the first day of the World Cup is usually on a Friday, and a lot of people around the world will take that day off. And they say that the first day of the World Cup exceeds tens of billions of dollars of lost productivity. So
It's hilarious, actually, but it makes sense.
It is hilarious, and it is absolutely insane. But people love their sports. So, like, tomorrow, so Thursday and Friday, if you are at home or you are in an office, everything is streamed for free. Check it out. It is also one of the greatest usage of the internet. Because every office will send out notices to everyone: stop sucking up the bandwidth, stop watching the NCAA tournament, go into a conference room. For those who understand that email, working in the corporate world. So we're going to go into our fourth map here, and it's going to be Eichenwald Pulse. Flashpoint here, going to be switching sides. They're actually going to be in red here, as they're going to be starting off on offense. Eichenwald, a very different map than what we're used to seeing on the hybrids. Not a lot of people's favorites, just because it is a very hard point C. So not one of those things that is a big favorite of the sort of hybrid maps here in Owlet.
Yeah, like you said, very hard point C to get to just because defender spawns are close. A lot of last points of maps are kind of like that. Eichenwald is very narrow, so it gives teams running many tanks a chance to do it. And when Goats became meta, that's exactly what defenders wanted to do anyway. So they were already playing the preferred composition for them to stall as long as possible. And at this point, going to the last map, I think we've seen Flashpoint look a little bit better on Goats. I'm expecting Flashpoint by all means to win Eichenwald as well, just because TBA has sort of looked like they've been on a downhill ever since they lost the second map of Lijiang, really. But they have had some bright spots. Like, we've seen on the support doing a lot of work, and actually got a lot of triple taps on Rainbow as Ana, which is kind of nuts on Volskaya. It almost allowed them to actually full hold point B. So really solid play from A. And we've also seen some really good play from Sharpshot, I'd say, on on DPS, just in general, opening a lot of space, building ults a lot faster than some of the other players, and making good use of it.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Flashpoint, I'd say a lot of players have had really good moments. Ronaldo being a little like you can tell he's a little bit not synced with everyone still, but overall really good play from players on an individual level, not always necessarily at the same time, but I feel like I've seen stretches of time where just one person repeatedly has really good plays for a good 2-3 minutes at a time.
Yeah. Yeah, the Flashpoint has been actually impressed me because a lot of talk among some of the players in the minors division, thinking that maybe Flashpoint would suffer a little bit after losing Piper, but that doesn't seem to be the case here. Flashpoint has looked very, very good as a team in general. The interesting part is you see that, like, Ronaldo and Heartbeat will switch off the main tank role, which is not something you normally see. You see Ronaldo sometimes will be the one who plays the Winston, but Heartbeat will be the one that plays the Rhine.
Yeah,
So
it's a
yeah,
little interesting. I haven't
mhm,
seen that a lot before, but I mean, back when I started sort of doing amateur tournaments, that's what me and my Winston one trick friend did, where
mm,
I'd have to fill in Ryan because I played Ryan at the time, but I was also the only one that played like certain heroes, so it's like I'd be swapping roles every single map, and it worked. So I can't complain, but it
yeah.
worked.
Shout out to
It's what you do.
Rango in the channel. Just saying hi. But you so just making sure Twitch chat understands what's going on. Lol, the Jane face. Okay. Looks like here they are still getting ready. I've hidden my chat. Looks like both teams are just getting ready here. Final thoughts, Pulse, before we go into Eichenwald between the two teams. Uh, I think TBA definitely wants to win on this map, honestly, but it's going to
Yeah,
be
you
hard.
you
Flashpoint's
don't
going to
want
go
to get
full.
0-4, especially
Yeah.
by all means, but it's just things have not looked good for them tonight overall.
I'm just wondering if, like, how much of it is like, it's just a bad night, because like sometimes teams just
Traveling to
suffer from just
Eichenwald.
down days, and I don't know if just today was just not the right day here for TBA to play them, because I'm a strict
Initiating
believer that,
match.
like, if you're not feeling it, sometimes just things doesn't go right, and I don't know how much of that is TBA here or how much Flashpoint has outplayed them, because I think that the maps have been relatively close, but there are just slight little variances between the two teams.
Yeah, I do think, like I said, I think I mentioned it after Junkertown actually,
Hmm.
but with all the changes coming in, I'm sure that plays a little bit to it, and we have seen TBA be a little bit slow to adapt to it, so that might be playing a factor as well. Just like I said, they haven't looked as good as they had on the very first map they played, so maybe a little bit of tilt
Ready for
going on,
battle.
but it's hard to say just from what we've seen.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see how they maybe react to this match. It will be TBA here on defense first, as Flashpoint here
Attackers
will
incoming
go
in
on
30
offense,
seconds.
probably just sort of trying to figure out what they're going to do here. I don't see a healer here on offense, but that's bound to change here with this point.
Also worth noting, Brian came in this map.
Oh yes,
So,
that's right. Shout out to
so
Nihao Brian.
we have a new player in the lobby. Brian came in this round, and yeah, it looks like this defense is a little bit interesting. They're sticking to this Orisa, which is pretty solid on Eichenwald first point,
Attackers incoming.
especially with the firepower of a
Defend
soldier and a
objective
bastion behind
A.
it. So
Mhm.
they have a lot of shield pressure right now. This isn't something that would be easy to run a Reinhardt into by any means, but we see the offense coming out with sort of this Pharah Sombra dive. Sombra's going to be able to get in for free, set for a hack, and if they get the right hack, it's going to be pretty easy claps on the team.
Yeah, so it looks like here, oh, there's a hack goes right on to Sharp Shot to win there. So now here comes the dive. Oh, the Lucio actually going a little farther out. Ronaldo here on the Winston, as we said, they do switch up who plays main tank, which is just very interesting, as Heartbeat now goes to DPS, as they sort of have to rotate like the entire lineup a little bit. But they're getting the advantage here, as the kills here coming up by Flashpoint. I think TBA here just not going to be able to hold them off. Looks like Petticoat here gets taken down, and it ends up being an easy take here for Flashpoint. My goodness.
Yeah, the Mercy reses have been very good tonight. Both teams have kind of failed to stop Mercy reses a lot of times. But it also means that after they get the first pick, fights are still anyone's game. Where, as in GOATs, you see a lot of times teams that get the first pick, it's just over for them and they're fighting a losing fight. So it's a little bit interesting to see how that's changed for them tonight.
Yeah, as it looks like here, with a little bit of some of the comp changes and some of the variations here, we'll see how how the soldier is going to play up against this pharmacy up into the air. Oh, now Brian, as I say that, takes Heartbeat down. And that's going to be the go here for TBA. They're going to see if they're going to get an advantage here. They want to take Rainbow out. Rainbow flies out of the area. She's by herself on the side here. Not going to be able to take her down, but it looks like they do take down Boots and Ronaldo. So therefore, a hold here, finally here from TBA. But lots of time here on the clock for Flashpoint to sort of adjust.
They finally do stabilize, which is exactly what they wanted. You don't want to give them pretty much all of A and B without losing a fight. And we see Brian really holding his own against this pharmacy combo. He has a visor coming up too, so it's not going to be like they're going to be able to contest him for free. But it seems like they have trouble figuring out how to really deal with this soldier on high ground that's playing very safe.
Yeah, they're going to need to reach him somehow, but they just sort of can't leap onto him and sort of take him out. And the Pharah realizing like not going to be able to sort of shoot him down relatively easy. EMP comes out here from Boots and is going to catch Brian and the Zen here into the back. Unfortunately, though, here comes the visor coming down. They're going to have to use the ults here. They do use the Lucio shield to make sure that Brian does not get anybody other than Boots here. But they're still able to sort of slow them down as this fight is now devolved here into a bit of a brawl. Marty Breaker takes down Rainbow and Ronaldo going down too, meaning that the offense here going to have to back up. 3:45 here. Plenty of time still on the clock, but they still haven't solved this puzzle yet, as they've only been able to get it like sort of just around the corner.
Yeah, Brian's really not getting pressured how you need soldier in this composition in order to make space for your Pharah and Mercy to do anything, because anytime they get in, it's just a soldier shooting at you from a while and from pretty much halfway across the map, and then Sharpshot is coming in with dashes and just finishing people off.
Yeah, we're riding with Brian here just to sort of watch him do his thing, as he's been able to sort of make sure that members have just not been able to sort of come up top, as the payload slightly starts to move right under the bridge here. They're trying to sort of dive on him, but they're basically diving on other places, and he's pretty much got free reign to sort of do what he needs to do here. Down goes the Zen though, but Sharpshot taking down Heartbeat will even out the fight here, 5v5, and that Zen loss could be huge. By losing the Discord, they lose a little bit of damage, but remember, Discord has been nerfed. Here comes Brian with the visor, and down to go the rest of the members here of Flashpoint. 2:40 here left on the clock. Slowly they turn, slowly they creep, as it only really looked like it moved about 10 feet.
Yeah, nothing major, no major distance on the card to report from that. And we see the offense kind of stuck now. They don't know what to play into this, so they're throwing goats at it, somber goats, because they have the EMP. I'm fairly certain Boots is going to swap off that Zarya after the EMP goes off. But again, this is something that we saw happen earlier on, where they're just going to have this high ground control, and goats can't do anything against that.
No, they know they can't. And it looks like I was riding with Sharpshot here. Sharpshot has the blade, didn't even have to use it. The bomb coming in from Petticoat did enough damage here, so he's going to be able to save that for the next push. Boots had the EMP, didn't want to use it, so now we're down to about 146 here. Boots can't get into a position to use the EMP, and even if she does, they're just going to be on the high ground. They're not going to be able to reach them with this comp.
Yeah, and even if Boots EMPs Brian, it's like EMPing a soldier, so it's not going to do a whole heck of a lot.
Yeah, and here comes the blade here from Sharpshot. He's able to get two, maybe get a third on the D-Mech here. Is going to be able to sort of finish off the Baby Diva here. Oh, Baby Diva does not make it to the cliff, and they're going to get another stop here with only about a minute 10 left to go. And they're running out of ideas here. The TBA has done such a good job in making sure that this payload just starts to go nowhere. And now they still have this EMP again. And I don't know if Boots maybe would have wanted to switch at this point, but it's just, I think finally now they're going to go to the high ground and use it.
Yeah, it looks like that's what they're setting up for, but Brian's still spread out enough that he can get a visor off this if he wants. They don't have a really good way to track down dive heroes.
Bomb actually gets sent into the air, they lose Yikes, and EMP actually happens onto the point, as, oh, what a transcendence, as the Zen was hiding, so therefore they're not going to be able to sort of get anybody except Marty here, but that might be enough. So as down goes the Zen, as Sharpshot here trying to sort of build up his ult as fast as he can here. He just needs to get it before the next defense here, because this fight is won here by Flashpoint. They're going to get a move on, but 15 seconds and there's going to be at least one fight here.
Yeah, it's going to be one fight, and they have that Dragon. But the only counterplay is shattering the Dragon Blade at this point. Maybe stunning him with a Brig and focusing good enough. Maybe hacking, but a Dragon Blade's a very good win condition to have for a fight because it's such a good ult.
Yeah, if he's going to be coming out here, maybe if you can trap him and not prevent him coming out, that might be the way to do it. As he looks like here, he's trying to see if he's going to be able to get Paco El Taco. He's trying to focus very, very hard. There's the hack on him, and down he goes. He wasn't able to use it. I think he got a little greedy. He didn't want to burn it right away, thinking maybe Paco El Taco had the Transcendence. He did not, and the win actually will go here to Flashpoint, as they're going to give themselves another minute 30. I don't know about that defense there, Pulse.
That was unfortunate for the defense, but it was a lot of misplays at once. Petticoat sent the bomb over the bridge so it didn't get anyone, just kind of fell into the river. We saw Sharpshot go out, try and fish for a blade for too long, and end up getting hacked for it. Just overall questionable things happening. And we see the offense have a chance to steamroll this. There's no ult except for the Genji blade. They can just counter it again. But things are looking good for the offense. As for the defense, as they started that off with 2 kills from Brian on the Brig.
Yeah, and the Sharpshot there.
Very good cleanup.
Very good cleanup, using the blade there at the end in order to get the supports on the comeback as they were already retreating. I'm not exactly sure if he might have wanted to save that, though, for the defense, because they are bone dry right now. That Zed is going to be able to have Transcendence, but that's all they're going to have with Boots. Paco El Taco having ults coming into this fight, along with Rainbow and Heartbeat getting ready for the ults here too. So this might be a little problematic here for TBA as they're going to come in. There's the EMP. The Transcendence comes in to sort of save the team here. Double Transcendence coming out. Earth Shatter comes in. This is what we were afraid of, but Marty Barter here has been nano boosted. He needs to swing a couple times here in order to take Heartbeat down. Defense is going to hold here as the members here are now going to get a little desperate. 5 seconds left to go. Bomb gets sent into the back. That's where you wanted to send it, but too high. Not going to be able to get anybody here, but the offense still winning this fight. Sharpshot in the Diva is going to get demeched and going to get killed here as the offense are going to be able to push here in overtime. Oh no! One more fight will happen here, Pulse.
Yeah, they have one more fight. There's a rally coming out from Ronaldo, but this is like pretty good defensive stall position. So if they get a big pick very early on, then they can still win this.
Yeah, Heartbeat gets 2 right away. Big charge there by Heartbeat. So now the offense here has a huge advantage with a Shatter coming out just to finish the job. Sharpshot here will get demeched and get killed. It is only a Lucio here onto the point. Can they get him down? Yes, they can. They're going to block the door, and they're going to complete here in overtime. Celebration EMP there by Boots as they capture all 3 points here on Iconfall.
Score.
They lost a lot of time and got stuck on B because of that really good Genji soldier coordination going on. But eventually they discovered the way to counter that, and it's just use the castle, because they actually hadn't approached that way. I don't think they really thought to, but they finally approached that way, which is how you break that defense. Use the speed boost properly to force them off high ground, then gun down the people that are out of position at that point.
Yeah, and that was actually, they finally solved the puzzle that was the defense there of TBA. So now Flashpoint here, in order to max out this match, will need to sort of hold them before they not let them full cap this match. So this map. So it is an achievement, I say, when you do actually complete Iconfall. But Flashpoint here will want to maximize their map differential. I think the saddest people of all of them is not anybody here, is going to be Outer Oxide, thinking that maybe they had a nice free run to the first place in the Minors division, but Flashpoint coming out here with a vengeance, saying we're not done yet. We still want that #1 seed. So very, very interesting here. Flashpoint now going for the 4-0, and the defense here from Flashpoint setting up here very similar to what TBA set up with Orisa Bastion.
But we also see that TBA is sort of setting up with the screw it, we're not trying anything silly, we're just going goats at this point, so they're going to try and just rush down this comp as much as possible. And it might work, but we also finally see that Junkrat pick I've been talking about. So a really good way to chunk down a lot of tanks fast, especially with the increased damage, especially with a Bastion and an Orisa that's not completely a sitting duck when she's firing.
Yeah, and now they're just firing just nonstop, and Ronaldo here firing those greatly increased sort of grenades now. So shields are melting. Like it was one of those things. Marty Barter couldn't come around the corner before his shield got obliterated, and that cost a couple lives there. So now they're going to have to figure out how they're going to try to get around all of this spam. As you see the Bastion firing in, you see grenades being lobbed in. It's sort of like a boost here, and oh, got trapped in the corner. See how Brian got trapped back there. They're not going to have enough people here. They lose their Brigitte, which stalls them right there behind the platform. So, you know, Flashpoint here just going to be patient, make sure that they just sort of keep spamming them down, maybe see if they can get another kill or maybe a D-mech on the Petticoat. Just trying to figure out what they're going to do, but they're stuck. Like, stuck hard.
Sharpshot needs to be doing something to try and build up energy.
Yeah.
Sharpshots, they need to rely on the damage that Sharpshot provides on the Zarya to be able to kill anything in this comp. Especially with a Bastion that's being pocketed by a Mercy and a Zen. It's gonna chunk you down a whole lot faster than an uncharged Zarya can kill the Bastion.
Yeah, and I think what happened was maybe he was using it a little defensively, but they get Boots out of it. So Boots goes down here. Defense still trying to hold as best as they can. Grumpy Kitten getting demeched here. So down go a couple members here of the defense. Ronaldo and Heartbeat, though, are getting the kills that they need. That Junkrat coming in really handy as he's blowing things up. And Grumpy Kitten here will get rezzed here by Rainbow. So pretty much a full defense here with 2 minutes already burned off the clock.
And it doesn't look like they have any answers to this immediately. It looks like they're just trying to build up ults, and then they're just trying to alt Fiesta their way to point A.
Yeah, Petticoat getting sort of melted down there. Defense Matrix does nothing. Unfortunately, it does enough damage to sort of just stall out the Bastion for a second or two, but down she went, and she's going to have to reset here, and it's just going to cost them time. It's going to be at least 5 more seconds here before Petticoat can join. But look at this. Big 6 here up for the defense. They've got ults to spare at this point. They might need to use the Lucio ult to just even engage at this point, Pulse. I'm not exactly sure what they can do.
Yeah, that's kind of my train of thought, is it doesn't look like the offense knows approach this again.
Yeah.
And this is kind of where TBA was having issues with earlier. It's just they're running something into something that's countering them, and they just stick on it and don't know what to do with it.
Yeah, and then that tire there was actually very, very smart there by Ronaldo. He heard the Lucio ult go off and pulled the tire back and just sort of waited for the tire to actually maybe do a little bit more damage. And now TBA here in deep, deep trouble. Petticoat got demeched, and in the line of fire here with regards to all of the members of Flashpoint. Flashpoint just not even allowing them to come clean through the choke. And now, 35 seconds left to go. Petticoat jumps off the side in order to get the mech back. Last chance saloon time here for TBA. This has just been a very, very good defense here by Flashpoint. Just with the spam damage coming through, they've just flustered TBA to no end.
Yeah, and Heartbeat dropping that bongo in kind of a questionable spot, but I don't think they really have anything to worry about. Worst case, they get grabbed, the Bastion's still in turret shooting them. It's going to take a lot more than any one ult.
Yeah, Bomb actually comes in here. Oh, Flank Shatter here will catch members as they waited too long. Marty Barter came all the way from the side here, and they lose 3. So this was their opening. They were so focused on the Diva on the side that was actually trapped in the point, they didn't realize the rest of the team had speeded around the corner. So you saw it actually happen here. Now, a little bit of lackadaisicalness here from Flashpoint is going to cost them as down goes Heartbeat. We're playing on, folks. For Ronaldo and Rainbow are here up at the top, but they're not going to be able to do very much here as there's just too much health there. They're not going to be able to chunk them down. So my goodness, TBA still alive in it and still able to sort of go on.
Stop the payload.
Yeah, Flashpoint looks like they kind of forgot that they were playing the game and already counted their victory on that.
Yeah.
Kind of gave up for free, weren't really paying attention to anything. You gotta be a little bit more careful about that.
Yeah, Marty must have been very, very happy when he saw that, when the shield was still pointed over to the front, and there was
big 5-man shatter just completely destroyed them. They weren't even paying attention to Marty. They didn't even know where he came from. They just got hit by a truck.
Yeah, so they're like, oops, that happened. So now they're playing this relatively smart here, using this sort of shield here to not give Boots any sort of fire to sort of shoot at them freely. So he's going to have to find a way to reposition himself to sort of find a firing angle here onto the members here of TBA. As now it looks like he's positioned himself so like if they sort of come around the corner, they're not going to be able to do anything. TBA here now rotating around, trying to see maybe they go high ground. That's possibly what they should be doing.
They have to go high ground. Yeah, this is exactly like the defense where if you're not running mirror goats and they're using any sort of positional advantage from you on Eichenwald, you have to go through the castle at some point.
But they decide they're going to go and actually retreat a little bit and maybe talk this over.
Yeah, they want to regroup up.
Yeah. So here comes Marty Barter again. He's going to be leading the charge here. Boots has positioned himself up on the top. They lose Ronaldo early, though. So therefore, all of them are just going to go into the castle, ulting Bastion coming in as Boots is going to be coming in and trying to shoot down on the members here. He's going to be trying to see if he can get through that shield. Shatter coming in, combined with a grab. They're going to wipe out the members here of Flashpoint. Flashpoint not being able to close this out, having a little bit of the itis here, not being able to finish them off when given the opportunities. 30 seconds left to go, and now the fight here is going to be at the door.
Yeah, they will have another chance to contest, and they have more or less matching ult, Diva Bomb, Transcendence. Biggest difference is Brian has that rally that we don't see Ronaldo have, but rally isn't a massively impactful ult, so if one of them can get a big Lucio boot or something to open up a fight, that's an easy way to win this right now.
Yeah, so this is it, folks. 13 seconds left to go. There's no way anybody's going to make this back. So here comes the Transcendence. Oh, and the fight win is going to go the way here of TBA. It looks like unless this bomb does anything, it does take Marty Barter out. That could be huge. So therefore, it's going to be, looks like Yikes here in the back. Grumpy Kitten needs some help. They're going to need to be able to take out this Diva. Overtime starts to tick down. Yikes survives. Grumpy Kitten gets demacked, gets shielded here immediately, trying to see if she can actually do any damage whatsoever. She got back in her mech! What was that? Unreal! They weren't able to get her down, and a sharp shot to win gets booped off the map. Earth Shatter comes in from Marty again. They didn't see the Flag Shatter, but this time Heartbeat gets a little bit of revenge on Marty, but still haven't been able to finish him off. Down he finally goes as Petticoat here getting demacked. This has just been too crazy. They don't make it back to the point. Flashpoint ends up winning it here after just so many times of having a chance to actually win it on the point. Lots to break down from that final fight, Pulse.
That was... It was a little bit longer than it should have gone on by any means from either team. Really good play here to use Grav Barrage, but overcommitting a little bit. That just kind of set him up for a bad take on point C. I don't know. That was good plays, good flank shatters from Marty, but it was just in the end, it wasn't enough to sort of win the map. The defender's advantage on that bridge is just so favored towards defense. You need a decisive win, and no team got that. And then after Grumpy Kitten was able to remech, just so many things going right for Flashpoint in the end.
I don't understand how she was able to remech. I mean, she was the only person on the point, I thought, and she was basically back there just shooting at people, and I didn't know. They didn't sort of turn around and focus, and all of a sudden I see her back in mech, and then the fight starts to turn against TBA, and I'm like, what happened? So it's sort of crazy there, but Flashpoint here get the win on Eichenwald. They get the sweep, and more importantly, they get the +4, which is super, super important here against a team in TBA that was nipping at their heels, and this will put a little bit of distance between them. TBA is going to look at this VOD, and they're going to see it as a lost chance, I think, and Flashpoint sort of doing their thing, having a bit of guts here, and absolutely sort of pulling themselves by the bootstraps, and taking this 4-0 is very, very good for them and their standings here in the Minors division.
Just being a little bit ahead, they look so much more comfortable tonight, whether it was the patch changes that sort of set them up for that, whether it was just good team morale, but they just looked unstoppable tonight, honestly.
Yeah, it is huge. So, like, let's just take a look at the standings again so that everybody understands here what was going on. Based on the standings, Team Flashpoint and TBA here were at 13-3, sort of tied where they were. This gives Flashpoint a +4, which actually will catch them up a little bit with Otter Oxide, who was at +37. So that's going to even them out here pretty much here on the side of map differential. Otter Oxide I think according to this, still has
Score.
a 1-game
0-1.
advantage here going into the final week because this is day 2. So Otter Oxide
Entering
holds
the
the lead in the
necrotic
Minors
pool.
division here just slightly. We'll see all of the final standings here in the Nest. Remember, the Nest is tomorrow at 8:30. Catch myself and Prez and Love Gangster and Girardi making a comeback as we talk about this week's games here in Owlet. But this game 4-0 to Flashpoint. Final thoughts, Pulse.
Well, they actually converted the, so I got pulled into that for a second.
Oh,
But
okay.
overall, like I said, just I'm really interested into seeing how this patch changes up both majors and minors division, because I feel like on a lot of casts we've done, things have come down to how well teams play one specific comp very well, and then sort of looking out of practice on other ones. So this is really the chance for those teams that maybe weren't as good as goats to start winning some maps and start taking some points off the ones that have looked really good on goats. Like we've seen boosted in majors just absolutely dominate on goats, but look a lot weaker to some of the other top teams when it comes to dive or when it comes to other stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
you really got to watch out for these new compositions. Even though you can't play the new healer, everyone in the game has more or less been touched with changes in some way, and it's going to be really interesting to see how teams adapt to that going forward.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting. And the team that comes in mind is Ghost Peppers in the Majors division. They wanted to play wanted to play like a 2-2-2, and sort of stick to that now, and it will give them a huge advantage, especially Commander Hui here, who is their sort of DPS specialist who've joined the team now. On that Pharah, which he is very, very good at, and with Pharah being buffed, oh boy,
Yeah,
yeah.
and like I said, Flashpoint versus TBA, that matchup was definitely changed in some essence
hmm
from the patch notes, just because we saw Flashpoint taking advantage of some of the new things in the game, some of the new damage modifiers, some of the new changes. They were using it a little bit better, and just the top. I feel like the top 4 on both majors and minors have a big chance to get a little bit mixed up off of the bootstraps of this patch.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, and it's going to make an interesting week 5 and an interesting playoffs here in the minors division. But that's going to be that. Thank you, Pulse, for being my co-commentator today.
Of
So
course, Hodo.
so that's going to do it for us. This has been a win here for Flashpoint. They take the win 4-0. But for Pulse, I am Hodo. Thank you so much for joining us today. We ran a straight 2 hours, Pulse. Look at that. Very, very long match, even though it was a 4-0. But it is kudos to Flashpoint. They start to push back up to the top. They want to claim that #1 seed. We'll see what happens after week 5. But for Pulse, I'm Hodo. Thank you so much. Have a good evening.